What we provide then is what's called a UR CAP, which you can kind of think of as just like an application on your phone. It's just added functionality that makes it easier for the user to program the robot that they can't do out of the box already.
Hey, we're here with Nathan Rivas, lead software engineer here at THG Automation. Can you explain what UR brings here at THG Automation and what a UR CAP is?
Yeah, of course. So Universal Robots out of the box gives us a ton of functionality by itself. For instance, we have the welding solutions, cutting solutions, and what we do is we provide the communication to the welding power source from the robot, to the external positioners, and we do all that so that the user doesn't have to have basically thousands of lines of code. We do that all for you in the background to make it just so much easier to program, so you can get through it in like an hour to program a whole part to weld. So some of the functionalities for, if we want to start, the very first UR CAP we created was the MIG welding UR CAP. And like I said earlier, the first one, when we developed it, was just like a weld start, weld move, and weld end, just a simple straight welding process. And from there, we started adding more functionality that both the Fronius provides and that we can use on the robot, like part check, to be able to just see if the part is actually there, which is using the touch sense functionality that Fronius provides. And from there, then we went to, okay, well now we do a part check just to see if it's there. Let's now use touch sense to, if the part has shifted at all. Now we can use that touch sense to apply an offset to then shift our originally planned parts based on what the robot has found. And then going from there even further is when we went to wire sense, which then found the seam using the wire and how quickly it feeds out back and forth from the part, using edge detect to find when the height of the part is actually where they need it to be. And then going from there, we started having more functionality wise to kind of help with the user for more unique stuff. So like stitch weld was another thing we added in there, so that a user can just have 2 points they set up, and instead of having, I don't know, 10 points, they can just set up the 2, tell it how wide they want or how long they want the pitch to be, and what job number they want to go for it, and it just creates the stitches for them and just makes it a lot quicker. It's one program node instead of like 20, so it makes the program even smaller, just makes it easier to go by. Now we're going to show off doing a simple linear weld across this part here. So first we can just come over here. When you come to over here, you'll see the initial options that UR brings to the table, and then we'll come to the section that are the UR caps, which is what we provide to the users. And so for this, we'll just come to a weld start. When you get to the weld start, it'll automatically create 3 points for you: the start, the move, and then the end. For this case, we're just gonna have a simple linear weld, so we're just gonna have 2 points here so we can get rid of the weld move. So we'll just have a start and end point. And so Ian here will set our first point for us. He's using the free drive button to be able to easily move the robot and be able to set the point. And then what he's also going to be using is the set waypoint button that we applied to the adapter. So as you saw there in the change, we had a change to where the waypoint was originally not set for the start point, is now automatically set. And so now we just want to go to the end point. So I select the weld end option, and then Ian will set the final point for our linear weld here. And then once he set that point, we now have a weld set up. Now you can go through and set different parameters that you want, whether it be the movement parameters, the speed of the robot, if you have specific features, or if you want to set a different job number for welding in this case. And then we also have shared parameters for if you have multiple points set up in the process, you can tell them all to be this specific parameters or this specific weave, whatever you would like. And then so now we can play this simple system.